should be able to play Surge to freedom. No! Jankos comes in, but it's another kill for Jankos. He's now 3-0-1.
Every time we get behind, we never seem to get ahead again.
Oh, they've landed the body, and the ultimate. Oh, wow, and Pekke gonna pick up the first one in this one.
I feel we're back on track, so 4-0 is the only way to go.
Here comes Freddy though from the side. It's a good knockup. He's gonna get 3 low. Oh, they're all being shattered.
We can hopefully finish with 2 wins now.
I definitely think that we can still go 2-2.
If we win tomorrow, we just get a boost of morale.
To the final day of the summer split in the European LCS, live from our studio in Cologne, Germany. I'm EpicSkillshot supporter, and I am joined by Lee D-Man Smith and Martin the Fishio Lunge. And we have 5 games worth of action heading your way today as the teams play their last matches and try to lock in those final spots in the standings before playoffs. But before we get to today's matches, let's break down the big stories from Wednesday. And guys, first off, SK Gaming, 3-0 already, and they took down Alliance and Fnatic yesterday.
Yeah, they are looking fantastic. They're setting up on stage right now. You may be able to see them just in the corner of your eye there, N-rated. 4-0 the dream. He's already been signaling. It's been a fantastic turnaround from 0-5 to a potential 5-0. What a perfect time to shine coming into playoffs.
Absolutely, and we mentioned it already, and Alliance and Fnatic losing. They locked in their top 2 spot and then not really showing up that much yesterday.
No, it was pretty clear as well. They were just testing out new champions. We saw Alistar Yasuo from Fnatic. Didn't really work, not on the same page, and Reckless was also saying on Twitter afterwards, hey, we just tested out a new comp, we need more practice. So they were testing out some new picks. We're probably going to see the same thing here today.
Very interesting. And well, talking about losing also to Super Haku and Millennium at the midst of that table, well, I don't know what's going on with those teams, to be honest.
Honestly, I think it's just pressure. I mean, Super Hot Crew, the first time they've been in this playoff situation. New team, of course, came in last spring, so suddenly the pressure was on them. They came into this 3rd place in Super Week and they've slipped right down already. Same for Millennium, of course. They were bottom of the table last season, so they're also both feeling the pressure, I think, coming into playoffs.
But we must really hope here they can actually fix the mistakes, because the games they've played in this Super Week have been horrible. They've been losing them straight up, didn't have a chance to win. Now, 1 week from now, we have the quarterfinals. If they don't fix all the mistakes they have before quarterfinals, they won't go into semifinals and maybe not even towards the Worlds. Or of course not towards the Worlds.
Well, it is crunch time for those teams. And turning to the playoff bracket, despite 6 matches yesterday, much of the seeding has still not been decided. Only Alliance and Fnatic locked things up yesterday after Fnatic lost to SK Gaming, which meant they could no longer catch Alliance. And the rest of the teams could potentially finish in several different spots as seeding gets determined during today's games. Now let's take a quick look at the standings so you can see just how close these teams are. In the middle of the table, it's nearly neck and neck, as just 1 game separates the teams in order from SK Gaming in 3rd place to Roccat in 6th. That means we could see multiple tiebreaker scenarios for each of those positions. And that could even extend to the bottom of the table, where Gambit could even things up with the Copenhagen Wolves.
And full respect to Gambit for the fact that going to this Super Week, they had some issues with the lineup and they just start playing really well. Confidence, team synergy, everything is showing. If they do manage to win against SK Gaming, it's going to be hard because they've been looking so good. And they actually tie Copenhagen Wolves, we will have a very exciting tiebreaker.
I think for Gambit, honestly, the realization that, especially for the likes of Edward and Diamond, you know, this has been their job for the last 3-4 years now in League of Legends. Suddenly that is at risk. Suddenly they realize we need to listen to any outside help we can get.
Yeah, that's what we heard yesterday as well from Dimitri. And of course, there are some huge moments that had you guys fired up on Twitter. So let's take a look at your top 2 LCS big plays. Up first was Shook's sneaky showstopper against Gambit at Charthogue. That cocoon was beautiful. This was your 2nd most talked about play.
Look for a cocoon from Shook. Very, very patient play. The ultimate used. Now the cocoon. Whoa! Perfect pixel placement there.
He managed to thread the needle.
What a cocoon from Shook.
Absolutely perfectly aimed here. Sets up Froggen as well for porting and killing. And Shook, to be honest, has been the best jungler in Europe. If he can keep it up going in towards the playoffs, I really do believe Alliance can actually also take it to Worlds.
All right, the second one, the most talked about big play, came from Jess's Orianna against Alliance. That turned the game in SK's favor at Syracuse. Such a perfect shockwave out of Jess's to turn that fight around. This was your #1 LCS big play.
Gonna get taken down. Saw Shackles from Enrated. Wilson out 3 members, but Enrated's now very low. Okay, no, Paul's coming in straight away. Shock's in there. 3-man shockwave once again from Jesus.
That is just another fantastic shockwave coming out of Jez.
You know, Trevor said it himself there. Fantastic shockwave. He did, what, 3-4 of them throughout that game. Really has stepped up his game for Super Week.
Absolutely, just in time. Remember, you can always tweet us your favorite plays of the day using the hashtag #LCSBigPlays. And now let's take a look at today's matches. We'll start the day off with Gambit versus SK Gaming, which is a big match with a lot of bearing for the playoff positioning. And then we'll wrap up with Alliance versus Millennium. After that, if there are any ties left to settle, we'll play those tiebreaker games at the end of today to lock the standings. And for all of the stats, schedules, VODs, and more, you can head over to lolesports.com. That's where you can also find global updates on every region's best teams as they head toward Worlds. And click on the tickets link to find out how you could join us live here for the quarterfinals coming up next week. And now, we'd like you to think back over this week and get on Twitter to tell us who is your MVP this Super Week so far and why. Gentlemen.
Well, first of all, we have to look towards SK Gaming because they're winning all the games. Jesus, we just saw the shockwaves. He's been looking very good. Svensson in the jungle, been performing really well. But I actually want to go towards Gambit instead and say Coupon. Because for me, he was a guy who has been underperforming before Super Week, and now all of a sudden he's playing Gragas, he's playing Maokai, and he's just been dominating in the top lane. He's been winning games for Gambit when they really need to win them here. So for me, he's actually been the MVP so far.
For me, it's all the broadcast crew that have been here for countless hours throughout, obviously, the last 2 days. And it's going to be a long one again today.
Absolutely. Send your answers to us at LOL Esports.